Ryan always believed he was different, smarter, sharper, a step ahead of everyone else. Rules? They were for fools who couldn't think fast enough. Morals? Just excuses for the weak. To Ryan, life was a game, and he was the one holding the winning cards. From an early age, he discovered a talent, an ability to twist the truth so convincingly that no one ever doubted him. He could spin a story in seconds, craft an excuse on the spot, and weave lies so seamless they felt like reality. And the best part? He never got caught. His parents often lectured him about honesty and integrity, but Ryan barely listened. Why would he? The world rewarded cleverness, not sincerity. His teachers? Gullible. His classmates? Naive. He could manipulate them all, and he did. With an effortless smirk and a silver tongue, one morning he strutted into school with a new challenge in mind. Today, he wouldn't just tell a lie. He would test the very limits of deception. Could he make his teacher believe a completely fabricated story? Could he frame a friend for something they didn't do? Could he fool everyone around him, all while keeping his innocent facade intact? He was certain of one thing: there was no such thing as consequences. The world was his playground, and he was its undisputed champion. But every game has an ending, and Ryan was about to learn that even the best liars eventually run out of luck. Ryan leaned back in his chair, arms crossed, eyes gleaming with mischief. Today was just another stage, another performance, and he was the star. When his teacher asked about his missing homework, Ryan put on his most remorseful expression. He took a deep breath, letting his voice tremble just enough. "I'm so sorry, sir. Last night I was walking home when I saw an old woman struggling to cross the street. She looked so frail, I couldn't just leave her. I helped her all the way home, carried her groceries, and by the time I got back it was too late. I wanted to do my homework, I really did, but I was exhausted." The class fell silent. Some students nodded, impressed by his kindness. The teacher's stern face softened. "Ryan, that was a noble thing to do. Don't worry about the homework." As soon as he stepped out of class, Ryan burst into laughter. "See that?" he smirked, turning to his friends. "They eat up whatever I say. You just have to know how to sell it." Later that day, an elderly guest speaker visited their class. A wise old man with silver hair and deep, knowing eyes. He spoke about karma, about how every action, good or bad, always comes back. Ryan played along, nodding attentively, even taking fake notes. But under the desk, he scribbled a ridiculous caricature of the old man, exaggerating his wrinkles, his hunched back. The drawing passed through the room, followed by stifled laughter. Then, with a smirk, Ryan raised his hand. "So, if someone keeps lying and never gets caught, does karma still work, or is it just a bedtime story for kids?" The room went silent. The old man studied Ryan carefully, but Ryan just stared back, daring him to answer. That afternoon, Ryan decided to push further. He spread a rumor that one of his classmates, Ethan, had insulted the teacher behind his back. He watched with satisfaction as Ethan was called into the office, face pale, stammering in confusion. When Ethan returned, his shoulders slumped, eyes red. "Ryan, why would you say that?" Ryan just shrugged. "Hey, life's not fair. Maybe next time you'll learn to cover your tracks." Ethan looked at him for a long moment, something breaking behind his gaze, but Ryan didn't care. It was just another win. By the end of the day, Ryan had an idea. A final test. "Let's make a bet," he told his friends. "Whoever can trick the most people by the end of the day wins." With his usual confidence, Ryan went all in. He convinced one teacher that the principal needed them immediately. He made another student believe there was a surprise test. He even told his mom he had a headache, just to skip chores. By nightfall, he stood victorious. "I told you," he grinned. "People believe whatever I want them to." But Ryan had made one fatal mistake. He forgot that lies, no matter how clever, always leave behind a trail. And his was about to be exposed. Ryan woke up the next morning feeling invincible. He had fooled his teachers, tricked his friends, and outsmarted his parents, all in just one day. His confidence soared. To him, the world was nothing more than a chessboard, and he was always 10 moves ahead. But fate had a way of evening the score. It all started when Ryan's notebook slipped from his bag during class. He didn't notice it fall, nor did he see his teacher pick it up. The moment his teacher flipped through its pages, everything changed. Inside were detailed notes of his tricks, how he lied about his homework, how he framed Ethan, how he bet on deception like it was a sport. The evidence was undeniable. At first, Ryan laughed it off. So what if they find out? I'll just talk my way out of it. But this time, no one was listening. By lunchtime, the entire school knew. The whispers followed him down the hall. The same friends who once admired his cunning now looked at him with disgust. The teacher he had deceived glared with disappointment. Ethan wouldn't even look at him. That was the first time Ryan felt something he never had before: fear. The real blow came at home. His parents sat him down, his notebook in front of them. His mother's eyes were red. His father's voice was steady but cold. "Ryan, is this true?" For the first time, Ryan hesitated. He could lie, he always did, but the weight of their disappointment crushed him. "Yes," he finally admitted. The silence that followed was worse than any punishment. His father shook his head. "I always told you, trust is easy to lose and almost impossible to regain. Do you understand that now?" Ryan didn't answer. For the first time in his life, words failed him. The next day, Ryan returned to school, but everything felt different. When he greeted his friends, they barely acknowledged him. In class, no one passed him notes or laughed at his jokes. Even when he tried to speak the truth, people looked at him with doubt. His lies had finally caught up to him. Desperate, he tried to make amends. He apologized to Ethan, but Ethan only stared at him. "How do I know you're not lying again?" Ryan had no answer. He spent weeks trying to fix what he had broken. Some people forgave him, others never did. It was then that he realized it takes years to build trust, but only a moment to destroy it. One evening, as he sat alone, Ryan remembered the old man's words: "Every action has a consequence, whether you see it immediately or not." For so long, he had thought himself untouchable, but in the end, karma had found its way back to him. Across town, an honest merchant thrived because of his integrity. Meanwhile, a dishonest trader who had once scammed his customers found himself ruined when no one trusted him anymore. But Ryan finally understood. Lies may bring short-term victories, but they always lead to long-term losses. And for the first time in his life, he wanted to change, not because he was caught, but because he had finally seen the truth. Honesty wasn't a weakness, it was the only thing that truly mattered. The story of Ryan delivers a powerful message about the consequences of deception and the irreplaceable value of honesty. Trust takes years to build, but only moments to destroy, and once lost, it is nearly impossible to regain. Ryan believed he could manipulate others without consequence, but his downfall proved that lies, no matter how clever, always unravel in the end. His story reinforces the timeless principle of karma. Every action carries a consequence, even if it isn't immediate. While dishonesty may offer temporary victories, it ultimately leads to isolation and failure. True strength lies not in deception, but in integrity, as honesty earns respect and lasting relationships, whereas lies create a fragile world that inevitably collapses. Ryan's fate serves as a cautionary tale. Success built on dishonesty is never sustainable. The greatest trick a liar plays is convincing himself he will never be caught, but in the end, the truth always prevails.